All right, stop. That's it.
I have an obligation to be in that room. I represent 200,000 people in Northwest Georgia who duly elected me to be here today.
Well, folks, apparently Republicans don't get tired of breaking the law, their own rules, decorum, or the sanctity of a government chamber. Or perhaps this pro-Trump Georgia State Senator Colton Moore just assumed he'd get a pardon if he made enough of a fuss trying to force his way into the Georgia Capitol's House chamber. And, you know, Trump would just see his heroic act of defiance as being akin to those insurrectionist hostages he plans to pardon on day one.
I'm telling you, if Pence cave, we're gonna drag through the streets.
But the real story here that gets more insane the more you unravel it is less about Senator Moore being thrown to the ground, arrested, and arraigned at Fulton County Jail, which we'll see more of in a moment, but rather the shocking and frankly abhorrent reasons why he was not allowed into the House chamber in the first place. So let's start with covering why he was trying to get in, talk a little bit about how much of a far-right extremist he is, and then reveal the shocking reason he was literally banished from ever setting foot in the House chamber again. Now, the reason Moore was trying to force his way into the House chamber is the simplest part of this story. Today was Georgia Governor Brian Kemp's State of the State address speech, basically the State of the Union for the state. Moore used to be a House member, moved his way up to senator, and simply wanted to attend, which, you know, at first seems pretty harmless. Kemp, of course, is a Republican, and while not as far right as Moore, who was rated in 2019 as the 7th most conservative legislator in Georgia by the American Conservative Union, the two seem to agree on a lot and be pretty chummy. In fact, in a rather hilarious story on Moore's Wikipedia page, apparently Moore supported Governor Brian Kemp from the beginning of his campaign, being the first representative-elect to endorse him, and on October 15, 2018, Moore acquired the domain name BrianKemp.com while Kemp was campaigning. Previously, BrianKemp.com had been redirected to Democratic opponent Stacey Abrams' website, which hilariously caused confusion for those looking for Brian Kemp's official site. Moore and a friend brokered a 5-figure transaction to buy the rights to the site, for which Moore used his own personal money. But as of May 2024, the site was inactive. So it's a little weird, right, that Colton Moore isn't allowed to attend Brian Kemp's State of the State address? Well, that is until you hear about this.
Capitol State Senator banned from ever setting foot on the House floor.
The almost unprecedented move came after Senator Colton Moore made disparaging comments about late House Speaker David Ralston.
Fox 5's Brittany Edney is at the live desk, and Brittany, it was a clearly explosive session. What led up to Moore's banishment?
Yeah, Courtney, well, on a day meant to honor the late House Speaker, State Senator Colton Moore made controversial remarks, a move that was met with a quick and rare response from Georgia House leaders. As the Georgia Senate considered a resolution to name a building at the University of North Georgia in memory of the late House Speaker David Ralston, State Senator Colton Moore stirred up a political dust storm.
This body is about to perpetually memorialize, in my opinion, one of the most corrupt Georgia leaders we'll ever see in our lifetimes.
Moore blasted Ralston's work as a lawyer and urged senators not to approve the name change.
We got decorum, rules here in this chamber.
Words which were heavily attacked by senators on both sides of the aisle.
He was a great man, a great mentor, and a wonderful friend.
There was a measure of caring about the institution of the General Assembly and the House that Speaker Ralston held dear that made it worth it for everybody to serve, including Democrats, even when you didn't get what you wanted.
House Speaker John Burns, visibly angry and emotional, addressed Moore's comments in the House.
His comments impugn the integrity of my dear friend, and we all know they were not true.
The Speaker then took swift action.
No time in the future will the senator from the 53rd be allowed to come into that anteroom or any property of the Georgia House.
An announcement met with a standing ovation, and a decision he confirmed publicly with the doorkeeper.
You have your orders. We expect you to enforce them and carry them out.
And carry those orders out, they did indeed.
Are all the senators now? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You do not come past this door. Stop. That's it.
All right, we're following some breaking news right now. State troopers this morning arrested a state senator at the Capitol, and this happened just before Governor Brian Kemp delivered his State of the State speech. When state senators entered the House chamber, the House doorkeeper stopped Senator Colton Moore from entering. A confrontation ensued for several minutes before state troopers handcuffed Moore and took him into custody. Last year, the House voted to banish Moore, a Republican from Northwest Georgia's Dade County, after he criticized a new painting of the late Speaker David Ralston, saying Ralston was corrupt and unworthy of the honor. We've reached out to the Georgia State Patrol to learn more about that arrest.